And good afternoon, Lakeshore Missionary Church. This is Pastor Justin, and we are here for our Wednesday encouragement. So I wanted to look at 1 Peter 4, verse 8 today. And just before we read that, a lot of times we'll hear scripture and we just kind of we hear it and it's just kind of blankets over us. And, we're not really looking at the in-depth part on it. And what I want to focus on this is when it talks about deeply loving and when it talks about a multitude of sin. So those are the 2 points we'll look at today. So above all, love each other deeply because love covers over a multitude of sin. Now, to love people that are easy to love, I mean, that's great. People who encourage us, people who, are there for us when we need somebody, that's easy to love. And that's an area, that we can all think of people in our lives to say yeah, that person is somebody that I love with all my heart. I think of my wife. I think of my family. That's not hard for me to love them well. But what happens when we come into a situation where, somebody's not easy to love? God still has an expectation that we are going to love them well. As Christians, we're to be known for our love. And I think that this is really where that ties into. So God gives us an agape love, which means it's overflowing. Ours can eventually run out. So we see that in our culture, in our lives, with relationships that we've had with people, where we are so gung-ho at first, and because of circumstances and time or situations that occur, it can start to break down the relationship and our love starts to slip or it starts to fade. So with God, thank goodness it doesn't work that way. But with an agape love, it's always filling up. And to think of what Jesus did on the cross is the number one way I love thinking about this love, because even when we were his enemies, he still chose to die for us. Which again shows us that this love that he had was just unbelievable. We didn't deserve it, and yet he still did it for us. So I'm just so blessed when I think of that kind of love. So how can we love any less? So to deeply love somebody is to go that extra mile, is to love them in a way that even when they're not pleasant to you, you still choose to love them, to show them Christ's love. And again, that is what will make this world look at us and say, I can't believe that you could do that. It's not being a doormat. It's really just saying, Lord, you know what? In this time, I'm going to trust you to love someone well, to believe that there could be fruit that would come from this. And we never know what can happen. So it's exciting to think that by loving people well, we get to show them Jesus. And a deep love means that there is sacrifice. There are times when you've been criticized or hurt, and you have to be the bigger person and say, you know what? I'm not going to take the low road in this and do the same to you. I want to stand above that and be Christ-like. I often think of the truth, is it better to be righteous or right? And sometimes in our lives, we have every right to be rude back. We have every right to, to defend ourselves in a way that would hurt someone back. And that's not how God's asking us to do that in our lives. It's to step back from there and to love well. And so there's just there's a beauty that comes from that, and it's trusting the Lord with that. And when people are not easy to love, it does throw them off when you can love well. So I just want to encourage you, if there's someone in your life that you would say, yep, that person came right to my mind when you were saying that about, not easy to love, go out of your way this week to bless them, to send an encouraging word. It's not to put yourself in a situation that would be unsafe or do something that you're going to for sure get hurt, and you're just saying, well, I'll be a martyr for this. I'll just choose to get hurt. Now, if it does happen and you're doing it unto the Lord, then there's a difference in that. But what I would just say is, just give it to the Lord, pray about it this week, and to think that it covers a multitude of sin. This is a beautiful truth that we need to look at as well. And when we look at a multitude, that is so much. There's so many areas, and what God does in this is he works in people's hearts. He changes the way that we see things. And for others, when we touch someone's life with love, when we go into the situation and we're saying, Jesus, I'm going to put you first, and I'm going to encourage this person, or I'm going to spend time with this person. And even though I may not receive the same response, God works in that. So I want you to be encouraged that way, that even if you don't see results, even if you do step up and someone hurts you in the process, God is still working in that situation because you've said yes to Jesus rather than, our own flesh and how we would react. So it's a challenge for all of us to react well with Jesus being our first thought, and then just choosing him. And how do we love well? Well, Jesus gave us that perfect example. So continue to put him first, continue to trust him. And if you don't do it perfectly, that's okay. But we have that opportunity to pick ourselves up and to do it right again and again and again, to love people well. So again, if there's someone in your life that you can love well today, please do. And if there's somebody where you would be like, oh, I just don't want to put myself out there, pray about it. But just trust the Lord in that, because those people need Jesus and those people need to be loved as well. So anyways, have a great, awesome day, guys. I love you. Looking forward to, for Sunday, we're going to be doing another great We Are Lakeshore. So just be blessed for that, and we will see you next week. Take care, guys. Bless you.